Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this thought leadership piece on influencer marketing. This is the Instagram online conference, Marketing with Love, in association with ET Brand Equity. Now, over the next 30 minutes, we're going to be deep diving into a very important and emerging facet of marketing, which is, of course, using influencers to reach and move business outcomes. Influencer marketing, specifically on a platform like Instagram, has increasingly over the years gained prominence, and several marketers, as of course you've seen a few, have used this to move business outcomes, and it's slowly and steadily becoming an important part of a brand's media mix when one talks of building brand saliency. Now, in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen this area of marketing take center stage and gain even more prominence thanks to the several constraints that have been posed in front of us when it comes to authentic content creation. Today, I'm fortunate to be joined by a star-studded marketer panel. And without further ado, let me introduce to you. Let me start with Sandeep Bhushan, Director and Head of GMS Facebook India, Abhishek Ganguly, Managing Director, Puma India and Southeast Asia, Harish Narayanan, CMO, Myntra, Anurita Chopra, Area Marketing Lead, Oral Care, GSK Consumer Healthcare, Dheeraj Sinha, Managing Director, India, Chief Strategy Officer, South Asia, Leo Burnett, and Harish Bijur, Brand Strategy Consultant. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Truly a pleasure having you right here in this Marketing with Love online Instagram conference in association with Brand Equity. So I'm going to start with you, Sandeep, first for some context setting. My question to you is, if I had to ask you to jog your memory and go back 5 years and look at this entire space of influencer marketing, what constitutes an influencer, who becomes an influencer, how has that landscape evolved?
I think the critical point is interests, passions, and an intent to learn and be inspired. That's what's fundamentally shifted. Consumers, users on Instagram fundamentally follow passions and interests. That creates a warm space of engagement and an intentional engagement with the topics that all of us, and we saw the breadth of interest that we saw. That's a very big shift. It's not marginal, it's structural. I think that's point number one. And when we talk of 1 billion people following their passions, 2/3 of them interact with creators, 90% of them interact with brands, right? The celebrity piece and the creator piece further also lies on a continuum. Celebrities have been used broadly as salience and top of mind creators. Deep engagement with the right expert influencers who we trust the judgment of, that in fact moves consideration. So very distinct intent from consumers to engage, a very warm relationship between all of the folks on the platform, and the ability to move not just upper funnel, top of mind results, but actually drive engagement consideration for the brand, because we're talking not just to buzz creators, but experts, creates a very different set of opportunities.
Let me come to you, Abhishek, as one of the world's leading sports brands, with big Bollywood and cricket endorsers, you've always been at the helm of creative disruption. Influencer marketing on Instagram is something that I think you have actually done a deep dive into and gotten your hands dirty. So I'd like your perspective of, bringing to the fore to our audience, what was the trigger to, let's say, partner with an influencer? How did you decide which influencer to partner with? And what was the brand challenge at your end? And what was the outcome of it?
We in Puma India always have believed that we are a heritage brand with some great history, but which operates in a digital mindset, digital first mindset with regards to our commerce, with regards to our consumer engagement, and with also regards to our brand marketing, right? And influencers have definitely, if you see influencers in India, and you mentioned how we have used that very effectively, has got us, I would say, a global brand but a context and relevance which is very country specific, very India, also very category specific. We are a brand which is as much into sport as we are into life. We are into, fashion, lifestyle as well. And if you look at our choice of people we work with, the creators, the influencers, it can be a Virat Kohli, who was probably, has 81 million followers on Instagram. to someone who is also an expert in their own domain, might be a fitness and influencer like a Nidhi Mohan, who's probably has a very core set of followership, and we've worked with them very, very differently. Yet the idea is very similar, that how do we create engagement which is authentic, which is deep, sometimes informative. And I think I would say that we have found it to be very, very successful for us.
Moving on to fashion, and Harish, the question to you really, fashion is a big mover on Instagram. I mean, I know so many people, including me, who follow, a diverse set of people on fashion. For an organization like yours, how difficult is it and how strategic is it to actually identify the right influencers to be showcasing, whatever your brand wants to showcase? Also, this whole, difference between a celebrity influencer versus a micro influencer, and how do you toggle between that? And what objective does each one really suffice?
I think what influencers mean to Myntra, especially coming from a place of leadership in fashion and lifestyle, influencers are one of the most important ways of telling our Myntra story, right? So we are a platform, so it also is about telling the Myntra brand story, but at the same time telling the story of our partners, like for example, Puma, right? There is a continuum, right? There is a trust reach continuum. Let me put it that way. On one end, you would have your celebrities who have fantastic reach, and they are also high on trust, but they are still celebrities. They are still a bit far away. On the other hand, you would have word of mouth, which is your friend coming and telling you, hey, you go try this brand on Myntra, right? Or hey, you should go download Myntra and try it out. In between somewhere is the influencer who has more reach than your friend, who tells you one-on-one word of mouth. But at the same time, you trust them a little more than a broad-based celebrity, because there's a bit more authentic, because you followed them on Instagram or any other platform. You went out and reached out to them, and that's how we look at the whole spectrum as well. And you would know that last year, same time, we launched the biggest fashion reality show in the country, which was Myntra Fashion Superstar, and the entire concept was the hunt for the next big fashion influencers. So we take influencers as a core part of our strategy. Identify these influencers as how much of an expert they are in their own field, how relevant they are to the brand Myntra and the brand partners that we work with, and how can we activate them at scale, right? So those are the kind of filters that we would have.
Coming to you, Anurita, which is a completely, different category. And I know for a fact that, Sensodyne has entered the influencer marketing space, and you've partnered with the likes of Ranveer Brar, Anaita Dondi, all of that. I'd be curious to understand, and I had several more influencers that you've partnered with. I'd be curious to understand how a brand or a product like Sensodyne, is able to partner with influencers and really move the needle. And what was that needle that was moved for you in particular?
Sensodyne, in any case, has been quite a leader in the pack in this space. So while it does look like toothpaste, it does look like tooth sensitivity, but here is a brand which has been pretty much at the forefront of creating influencer marketing, not just through consumers but through experts, which are our dentists. Then we said that, okay, what about influencer marketing? And here is a group of influencers and a large group of influencers who have credibility in the space that they're talking about. Be it chefs, in our case, who know the foods that they're, whipping up. Be it actually today people sitting at home and whipping up their favorite dalgona or whipping up their favorite golgappe. How many of you would have searched for that favorite recipe sitting at home these days because you're stuck at home and you have nothing better to do? And how about, therefore, a brand talking to you, be free of the stress of enjoying your favorite kulfi, ice cold, make it in at home, take it out of that fridge and bite into it without a second thought. And how about your favorite chef, be it Ranveer Brar, be it any other chef, telling you about his favorite recipe.
Let me invoke the brand guru and get your view, Harish. What would you say are the important do's and don'ts brands should consider, while playing in the influencer realm? What should they be very cognizant of?
I would definitely say don't look like a brand, because brands have hard stories. That is, look more like the consumer. I mean, look as a part of him, get beneath his or her or their skin. The second is stay peer-to-peer. Do's. Stay peer-to-peer, because that's beautiful. I think, we have all realized that top-down advertising works less and peer-to-peer works that much more. Lateral speaking, which is going on today on Instagram and mediums such as this, beautiful thing to do. And of course, the third thing, and this important thing needs to be listened to as we're entering into the tipping point, and that is don't kill the influencer goose or geese in this case a bit too early.
Thanks, Harish. Thanks. Very, very articulately put. Let me come to you, Dheeraj. You have your ears close to a number of clients. You've also seen the way their mindset has also slowly has been moving over the years, but of course moved significantly in the wake of the pandemic, simply because creation had just become so difficult. What is, in your opinion, the key differentiation when you're thinking from the prism of creating content from an influencer standpoint, as opposed to any other piece of content?
I think the fundamental difference is in the notion of the brand itself, right? The way Harish pointed out, that brand is not what you tell to the consumers today. Brand is what they make of from the various scraps of data that we give them, right? So if you have a collage view of brand, that you're giving various scraps of data to customers and they build an image of who you are, right? And that's the difference in approach when we are, say, conceiving of a television commercial. It's broadcast, it's an image that you're building. But say an Instagram is an extension of people's life, it's real life, right? So you're weaving into the everyday narrative of people, and the brand is becoming a part of people's everyday lives, right? That's the biggest advantage that an influencer marketing program kind of allows you. So, for example, we did work for Mobile Shala, was a platform we created for Whisper, where we realized that in the pandemic, the boys were getting all the privilege of online education in Indian households, and the girls weren't getting access to education. And for Whisper, we launched this platform of free education called Mobile Shala, but we got lots of influencers on Instagram to popularize the idea of Mobile Shala. And when a Bhumi Pednekar comes and talks in authentic voice, that idea kind of reaches out. We just launched a campaign for Spotify Premium where we enumerated Nuclear, right, and his fan base, and we created a piece of music which talks against advertising, because a platform on Spotify Premium is non-advertising based work. So across these brands, you realize that we are able to get the brand out there, interact with people, right, build one-on-one conversation. And the biggest idea is that we are throwing out lots of pieces to people to put together to build the brand, rather than telling them this is what my brand is about.
Coming to a very important question that I think, Sandeep, you should address, is that we're always talking about measurement metrics. It's always, something that's always a cause of concern for most marketers. I'd like you to address what are the measurement metrics for influencer marketing, and how does one know that this is, impacting my business in a manner where I can scientifically go through that funnel and understand that.
The influencer marketing toolkit today, one of course is set of expressions. So a creator today is expressing, when we said need for authentic creation, it's about the use of the platform. For example, I go live. I am authentic. I am live. It's not a cut. I know it's live because the interaction is happening, right? You can't hide behind a second take, right? So tools such as that create that sense of I can touch and feel. And therefore, measurement is central. And measurement is exactly the way we do any measurement for any marketing stimulus. Number one is assess it on its own merit. So brand lift studies, etc., where you measure a stimulus impact on an intent to purchase, all the way to mixed modeling. So when Mondelez, for example, talks about successes, and really grateful for all the work Anil's team has been pushing, they go and measure offline retail sales through a Nielsen mixed modeling, as structured and rigorous as that. An Instagram influencer or Facebook influencer is exactly one media activity along with TV, print, anything else they do. And therefore, whether it is solar stimulus, you should get your brand lift, or is it mixed modeling for sales? Influencer marketing should be put exactly to the test, because all of these tools should not seduce us away from the fact that we are here every day, and this year even more, to drive our businesses.
Abhishek, if, taking a cue from what Sandeep said, a question to you being, have you actually tracked that? Have you done an influencer activity, and then tracked the kind of brand lift, your stores are getting?
Absolutely. I think Instagram gives us the opportunity to not just look at how much awareness we are creating in the brand and even put a metric to that, but also very clearly look at, what is the impact on the final transactions that we are having in our offline stores or on online stores, right? So this is, I think, the beauty of the platform for us, because not only is it just the right platform for us where we have the creators with whom we target and our own handle, making it interesting, but we always track it. I mean, like in business, where at the end of the day, it helps both sides, the brand uplift, because you know exactly how many conversations you have generated. You exactly know what kind of engagement rates you have generated. You exactly know the reach. So it's very, very metrics based. And also when it leads to, when we do, let's say, targeted outreach using Instagram, whether it is a hyper-local outreach or it is a category or any kind of cut you use to target audience, do you exactly know what's the return that you're getting based on what you entailed to do when you started with that program?
Harish, how difficult is it for you sitting there and deciding? Because, there are so many more influencers who are born and many who have saturated themselves. So as a brand that partners with several influencers, whether they're being celebrities or, micro influencers, how do you decide how much you have to keep going in terms of partnerships and how much you have to keep offloading to maintain that balance?
It is dynamic, yes, but in the broader scheme of things, the people who we work with and are still happy to work with us and are growing with us, we continue to engage with them. The ones that are new and who have completely shaken up the space that we work in, say, fashion, then we definitely want to engage with them and try them out. So it's a very organic process, I would say. It's not something that we have to put a formula and say the bottom 20% are out and then we pump in new influencers. It doesn't have to be that way.
Anurita, what would you say is one of the hardest things, since this is a new space and we're all learning? What's the hardest thing for a marketer to in this particular space to ensure that you're constantly doing something new, innovative, and relevant, and don't keep repeating, so that your core constituency doesn't get bored, because innovation is very key in such a vibrant landscape. What is that one thing that you think is most hard as a challenge for you as a marketer?
A, you're not creating a single asset. B, you're not creating the asset. You're just laying out an asset and it'll be co-developed by many other people around you. So, stop owning it. Stop being, really territorial about it, that I am the brand owner and therefore I will drive everything. No, because now you're literally laying it out a bit on the ground and you're letting, in this case, influencers, but many others co-create along with you. Because when that person is talking, speaking, creating, there are many others who are his or her followers who are co-creating along with it. It takes a different shape than you possibly imagined it to be when you first started out. And that's okay. So 1, you need to move fast. B, you need to keep your pulse and adapt faster. 3, you need to have multiple assets in your kitchen all the time. It is not about one singular mega asset. It is about multiple. And 4, you need to let go of it. You need to see what it evolves into. Chances are that what it will become will not be what you started out with in your head, and that's fine.
Well, that's a great point, Anurita. Let me take that to the agency. So Dheeraj, really getting you in here. When she says that, you've got to be open, you can't be territorial, you can't look at yourself as a brand owner and want to control all the strings. How many clients would you say, and I'm not saying specifically to just clients you work with, but broadly wearing your industry cap, how many clients have that kind of maturity?
I think clients are learning, right? I mean, clients are learning. There is a tendency to control. Can we ask the influencers to mention the brand more often? We do get those requests as well. But clients are learning, especially clients who have tasted success, have realized that it is not a function of putting your brand logo in every frame. It is a function of engagement that you create. So in fact, and for agencies as well, right? For agencies as well, to learn, to be open to, I mean, a lot of our creative folks now love working with influencers because they know that there's a vibe. So the creative community also has extended itself, right? So the agency could have also approached this from a perspective of territory, but we are embracing it. If we're saying we are more creative, and when you're doing a piece with Nuclear, you're jamming and doing that piece of music together, right? Or we launched, say, herbal essences for P&G just on Instagram, right? And we use this idea that everybody using filters to enhance their pictures on Instagram, and we said, keep it real. With herbal essences, you don't actually need a filter. And it was launched like a new filter coming on board. And a lot of creative input actually came from the influencers as well.
Harish, how do you see this entire space and gamut evolve and become more sophisticated, both via influencers and, of course, brands who become a lot more open to letting their some drip and losing the reins and allowing, this partnership of creativity to go on to the next level? How do you see this develop?
Well, I see plenty happening, and plenty happening very, very fast. Firstly, brand control itself. Brand control is so yesterday. Brand managers, brand owners need to wake up and say that, hey, listen, guys, that was yesterday, and today and tomorrow is about a different era altogether, and I will let go with some degree of control, hopeful control. Now, if you look at, mediums such as Instagram, there's going to be plenty of change. And I don't think mediums such as Instagram are going to look the same way they're looking as of today. Brand gaming, for instance, that's big stuff coming up ahead of us. We have, a theory. Whenever we do digital advertising and digital marketing, we typically call it the NTA moment. It's the nudge to act moment. The nudge to act moment is when in that nanosecond something comes up, Cadbury Silk has come on, and their hunger has happened, and you have actually gone and clicked on an order. Now that is the stuff that we are going to witness ahead of us. Very, very fast, bleeding edge, cutting edge, because I say if Facebook is filter coffee, Instagram is instant coffee. And the iGen, the generation which is impatient, really is looking for stuff like Instagram. What will happen out here is we are really talking about Instagram having the ability to cater to lowest common denominator consumers, middle common denominator consumers, highest common denominator consumers. No one medium could do that before. When we would go to an advertising agency, get an ad done, that was difficult because, it appealed to everybody. And guess what? Most of the time, my advertising would be lowest common denominator advertising. Not anymore, because I've got 20,000 creators and the medium is running away. So I see a lot of excitement. The marketer, the last point is the marketer who does not look like a marketer. The brand which does not look like a brand. The brand that looks like yet another human being out there. The marketer hopefully also looking like a human being.
Well, I think the task, it's quite a mammoth task for marketers at large, cut out for themselves going forward to, release control, not look at themselves, as brands and have their logos everywhere. I think it's a long and arduous road, but I think The mediums are fast changing and so are marketers. And with that, I'd like to thank this illustrious panel for their time and sharing with us all these immense insights and case studies. And once again, more power to you and more power to the marketers right here. Thank you so much.
Taking this initiative forward, Instagram has launched a thought leadership initiative called Love Runs Deep. It's a unique challenge bringing together creators and brands to move business outcomes.
If you got a brief, bring it to me, share it with me. This is Instagram.
The Love Runs Deep.
The Love Runs Deep.
Love Runs Deep is open to brands where they can share an interesting brief that they aim to move the needle with. An illustrious jury will shortlist 5 entries, and these 5 winners will gain access to 5 creators aiding in moving their business outcomes through Instagram. Next episode of Brand Equity will deep dive into the Instagram Love Runs Deep challenge with the man behind the mission himself, Sandeep Bhushan, Director and Head GMS at Facebook India, as well as the illustrious jury partnering with this campaign.